No, it's not a new type of iMac. It's not a mini iMac. It just kind of looks like one. But what it is, in fact, is that it's an iPad Pro that's sitting on top of an aluminum stand and connected to a wireless keyboard. Now, if you're like me, you would agree that it does look nice. But is it actually useful? In the last few years, more and more people have started transitioning from full desktop computers to laptops and now to tablets. But there's always been a problem from computers to actual, just tablets, because there's a lot of things that a tablet can't do. So what's with this whole thing that's kind of captured the imagination of social media? I think because of the latest updates, especially for iPad OS, it's become a lot less painful to transition from carrying a notebook to a tablet. So I tried this myself just to see. This is an iPad Pro 12.9 inches, and it's sitting on top of a Lamicall aluminum stand, which is actually really nice and quite affordable. For the keyboard, I'm using a Satechi Bluetooth slim aluminum keyboard. It's really nice. It's got the numpad, which I prefer, and it's also got 4 programmable Bluetooth devices. So what I mean is you can connect up to 4 devices, and with just a press of a button, connect to your iPad or MacBook Pro, desktop, or whatever else that you use. So using this setup, I wanted to see if it's actually usable as a minimal desk setup. So overall impressions first. I like how it's very clean. I mean, you don't really need wires. The only time you would need wires is when you're charging it, which in my case usually is at night. And let's talk more about this keyboard actually. The key travel on this keyboard is really nice. If you're connected to your iPad and you press the space bar, it actually wakes the iPad up just like how you would wake up a regular computer. So I like that they have that support for this type of device. And these function keys at the top actually work. And you can switch between apps. You can go back to the home screen. You can take screenshots. You can even adjust the volume of your iPad as if you were using your MacBook Pro, which is really cool. For my type of work, I type a lot of emails, and the folding keyboard type of solution isn't just for me. I just don't like it. As a mobile device, yes, it makes sense. But when I'm home, I'd rather type on an actual keyboard. If you haven't seen how nice a screen of an iPad Pro is, then you should go check it out, because honestly, my favorite screen is from an iMac 5K. This, as good as it can get for a device this size. So someone might be asking, how come you're not using a mouse with it? Well, I like to utilize the touch screen aspect of this setup. I'll give you an example. So for my work, I use Google Sheets a lot. Unfortunately, when I'm on the desktop, I'm forced to use their web version because they don't have an app for Google Sheets. So the website, it works, it's very clunky, it's kind of slow. Since they have an actual app for the iPad, using it is much, much easier. So I can scroll up and down, I can zoom in, I can type using the keyboard, and it's actually kind of enjoyable. So I guess it really just boils down to personal preference, but I think I want to keep it as clean and as simple as possible. So another great thing about this is I can switch to photography mode by using one of my favorite applications, which in this case is Lightroom. So I could just use my Apple Pencil to edit photos. And since Adobe actually released a Photoshop version for the iPad, I've been spending some time with it. And though there are some things missing, it's very promising. I'll tell you that. It can be very enticing for photographers in the future to just fully ditch the laptop and just bring an iPad. I can easily switch to gaming mode with this setup. For this example, I'm using LG's PK5 X-Boom Go, basically connected via Bluetooth, and then I connect one of my PS4 controllers and I can play games such as Call of Duty Mobile, and it's actually surprisingly really fun. It's just cool to know that I can play games like that. Games are getting better now on mobile devices, I have to admit. One of my problems when I'm using the desktop is I can't really utilize Instagram fully. If I were to use Instagram, I would have to use my mobile device, because on the web version, you don't have, you can't answer DMs, there's a lot of things you can't do. It's clearly made for mobile devices. Since they have an app for the iPad, it's pretty much an enlarged version of Instagram. But unfortunately, they still don't have support for landscape view, which in the beginning kind of gave me a problem, but then I found a solution. There you go. Now I can easily respond to DMs or even comments. So these are the cool things that I think you can honestly do with this type of setup. One bonus that I might add is because the iPad Pro has an impressive battery life, I can actually use it to charge my Apple Watch. For that, I use one of Satechi's Apple Watch charger, and it's very small. It's got a very small footprint. I mean, I hate the regular cable that the Apple Watch comes with. So I really prefer this, especially if you're on the go. Luckily, you don't need a lot of time to actually charge an Apple Watch. You can just pop it in real quick while you work or while you type emails, and you get a good enough charge. So this type of setup kind of works for someone who has very little space at home. You know, when you come home from a busy day at work or at school and you don't want to keep typing on your iPad, you can just plop it in this stand and start typing away with a regular keyboard. There are so many things about this that I really like. I honestly can't really, to be honest, I can't really think of something that I don't like about it. And because there are so many things that I like about this, I actually look forward to all these new updates, these apps that are going to come out in the future, and how mobile devices are going to start to feel more like personal computers. I know this sounds very much like a first world problem, but it's so much easier to just lug around an iPad versus a laptop. That begs the question though, is this going to be a replacement for a dedicated desktop? You know, maybe not yet, but in all honesty, I think we're getting pretty close.